So Genesect has been added to Pokemon Go. Through the special research event that happened last weekend, players now have access to Genesect, a bug, steel type, mythic Pokemon. And as with Regigigas, people are assuming that Genesect is going to be the next EX raid boss that we have to play around with. So the question becomes, just how good is Genesect in Pokemon Go? Well, that's what this video here is for. I'm going to be talking about Genesect in raid content and PvP content, so hold on to your seats there. So as far as raid content is concerned, Genesect is the best bug-type attacker currently released in the game right now. Or at least it would be if it wasn't for the Shadow bonus. So yeah, Shadow Pinsir, Shadow Scizor, Shadow Scyther even beat out Genesect in terms of DPS. And then when it comes to DPS to the third power times TDO, he is still behind most of these Pokemon. So until Shadow Genesect comes out, I don't think that there's too much merit talking about Genesect in raid content. Then we also have the future Volcarona that's set to come out inevitably. It's a really good fire and bug type Pokemon, and it just straight up beats Genesect. So even if Niantic were to nerf the Shadow bonus sometime in the future, giving Genesect the ability to rise above the Shadow bugs, Volcarona still exists in the future to beat it out. And Volcarona is not a mythic or a legendary Pokemon, so very likely easier to power up and all that fun stuff. So all in all, Genesect's not looking too hot for raid content, but as with most Pokemon, where you fail in raids, you can rise in PvP. When it comes to PvP, Genesect is directly comparable to Scizor. They have basically the same stat line, the same stat product overall. Scizor is a little bit better though. They're both Bug Steel type Pokemon. They both have Fury Cutter, they both have X-Scissor, they both have a Steel type charge move, so they're basically clones. So with that in mind, the differences between them would have to come down to their moveset, and I guess their potential to have better IV spreads. When it comes to IV spreads, Scizor definitely has Genesect beat. Genesect is a mythic Pokemon, so you can only capture it, you can't trade for it, which means its IV spread is never going to be, you won't have the ability to maximize it like you can with Scizor to give it even more stat product. So you can't do that with Genesect. Genesect's going to be stuck with, 10 as the lowest attack stat for it. So if you're curious about PvP IVs, check the link up above and in the description about PvP IVs. Make a lot more sense for you. Now, while this does sound like a neg, there is good news for Genesect. Scizor, if running the Fury Cutter set, wants to hit a specific attack breakpoint on Swampert in order to beat the Swampert matchup. So Genesect can also hit that breakpoint, even with its basic moldy oldie IVs, so Genesect's really not that far behind Scizor. It just has less potential than Scizor does. Then when it comes to the moveset department, right here at a base, it looks like Genesect has Scizor beat because Magnet Bomb is a better attack than Iron Head is. But these aren't the only moves that these Pokemon know, and they may not even be the preferable moves for them given the right circumstances. For example, Scizor running Bullet Punch may be preferable in the Ultra League so you can hammer down on the Fairy type Pokemon that resist bug type attacks. The Bullet Punch can also allow Scizor to bully the Giratinas better, especially if you're running Night Slash. Genesect doesn't have Night Slash. Scizor has Night Slash, and Bullet Punch, Night Slash with Return, more often than not, can be Scizor's best moveset in Ultra League PvP. Genesect, to compare, has Hyper Beam and Metal Claw. Metal Claw is a bad fast move. Straight up bad. Oh yeah, by the way, if you're curious about the Sacred Sword Cobalion, yeah, Sacred Sword Cobalion still has bad fast moves, so it's still not a very good Pokemon. One of those attacks that it has is Metal Claw. Metal Claw could be better. It's not. So those two things are definitely hanging over Genesect's head here when it comes to being compared to Scizor. Both Pokemon are functional and good for Ultra League PvP, but at the end of the day, if you're going to pick one, it's probably going to be Scizor. Scizor's got a lot more variety, keep your opponent on their toes, and then you have a lot more things you can do with Scizor. So yeah, sorry Genesect. Also, for those of you that participated in the Genesect research, you can get a Genesect under 1500 CP, so you can use it in the Great League. When it comes to Great League PvP, Scizor already isn't all that great. Like, it's very okay, but it's not that good. And Genesect, as I've displayed for you guys here is just a worse Scizor. So I don't really see Great League Scizor doing a whole lot. And if you're curious about Sylph Cups, whatever Sylph Cup Genesects and Scizor's gotta be in it, man. So I'm just... Which one are you going to pick, guys? The one that's predictable and worse, or the one that has much more variety and can do more stuff with their IVs? I'm just throwing that out there. Hyper Beam, doing Genesect, no favors whatsoever. Now, for the high swag lords out there, those of you that are in the know of Genesect and the Game Master, this is just the vanilla Genesect, and there are other Genesects out there. We also have the Burn, Chill, Douse, and Shock forms of Genesect. Now, in the main series games, Genesect has these things called drives, or like cassettes, or something like that, that change the type of attack that its signature move, Techno Blast or something like that is. So you can get like a fire one, an ice one, a water one, an electric one, and I think there's like another one. Do I have it written down here? Nah, I think that might be it. So it changes the type of attack that Genesect's doing for its like main signature move here. Instead of giving Genesect all these different types of attacks or having like a held item system finally exist in Pokemon Go, it looks like they're just going to be giving us different Genesects. Now, as far as they're coded in the Game Master, they are all Bug Steel type Pokemon, and they don't appear to have the signature move Techno Blast. Instead, they have alternative charge moves. Instead of Hyper Beam, the Burn one has Flamethrower. Instead of Flamethrower or Hyper Beam, the Chill one has Ice Beam, and the Douse one here, instead of those attacks, it has Gunk Shot, and then the Shock one here has Zap Cannon. So that does open up some new possibilities for the future Genesects. Now, assuming that these different forms have to be captured from EX raids, and then they're probably going to have like an EX raid rotation with this too, very likely. We probably won't see these forms in the Great League. I did run sims on this already. The Burn set can beat Great League Registeel. The Chill set can beat Great League Altaria. The Douse set with Gunk Shot can beat Great League Azumarill. So they're all pretty good attacks for the Great League, but we're probably not going to get them in the Great League. We're going to get them in the Ultra League. And in the Ultra League, only one of the Genesects really stands out, and it's not the Shock form. It's definitely not the Douse form. You might think it's the Chill form, Ice Beam for the Giratinas. Doesn't KO, doesn't get there. So sorry, man. But the Burn set. The Burn set can allow you to take down Registeel. Now, I know everybody's poo-pooing Registeel as a threat in the Ultra League because you hardly ever saw it last season. Maybe in Season 1, people will finally have Registeels powered up. It is one of the topmost threats in the Ultra League, despite people not powering it up and using it. So, I guess if there comes a future where Registeel is actually hot in the Ultra League and we get Genesect Burn form, Genesect could be a worthy option to consider over Scizor for that job. It'd still do the basic job of being able to take down, grass-type Pokemon, water-type Pokemon, such as Swampert, if you get the attack break point, which you can achieve with raid-caught IVs here. Still does the basic job of threatening normal-type Pokemon and fairy-type Pokemon, and with the Flamethrower, you do get that extra level against Steel-type Pokemon. So when it comes to my Ultra League simplified graphic here, if you haven't seen my Ultra League simplified video, link up above and in the description to help the Ultra League make more sense to you. Genesect with the Flamethrower would do... That sounds so wacky. It's like Genesect, but it's also got a Flamethrower. Sorry. It does pretty good across the board, especially if you're not fighting the Giratinas or a fire type. So I guess keep your eyes peeled for the future. Maybe Pokemon Go will surprise us and do something more unique with them. For example, Gunk Shot on the Douse form, that kind of feels like a placeholder. Maybe they are considering doing a Elemental Techno Blast going on, which could be a huge upgrade for Genesect. But for right now, Genesect's not looking too hot. Now I know what you're thinking, Ryan Swag, what about the Master League? In the Master League, Genesect certainly has better stats than Scizor, able to rise above it with 353 more CP. Well, I hate to break it to you guys, but neither are really good in the Master League. I mean, dude, Dialga and Giratina Origin form. What is Genesect doing against them? Not a whole lot. Kyogre? You gonna Zap Cannon a Kyogre? Would that even KO? It would. It would KO if it doesn't shield the Zap Cannon. That's, I guess, Kyogre, watch out. But I don't think Genesect's going to be it in Master League PvP. We'll see. Maybe if they upgrade Techno Blast, or they implement Techno Blast and it's good, then maybe Genesect will be hot. Maybe. So there you have it, Genesect in Pokemon Go. When it comes to raid content, it's definitely not that bad. It's a really solid bug-type Pokemon. But Shadow types, Shadow Pokemon, they definitely seem like they're here to stay, and Genesect cannot compete with that. When it comes to PvP, Genesect is completely analogous to Scizor, and Scizor has a better move pool than Genesect does. So Genesect also kind of fails there too. Overall, Genesect does look like an interesting trophy Pokemon. Maybe if they implement Techno Blast into the game, they make it a good attack, and then they make the alternate Genesect forms have like a good elemental type for those attacks, maybe it will surge in power. But for right now, Genesect's not looking all that great. If you got any questions on this content, comment below, let me know what's up, and I'll be happy to help you out. And if you enjoyed this content, you want to see more like it, maybe you want to know about that Aeroblast Lugia, or perhaps the Sacred Sword, Cobalion. Well, make sure to subscribe to SwagTips. I'd also like to give a special shout out to these patron supporters. If you aren't aware, Swagman has a Patreon. If you'd like to help support the Swagman, check it out.